at Frank and Jimmy's Propeller Shop, and we're going to learn a little bit more of what happens when you possibly ground your boat. Over here, I'm going to bring you and I'm going to introduce you to Rich again from AME.
I got James.
Yeah.
And this is Jimmy from Frank and Jimmy's Propeller Shop.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? So to continue on with our discussion about what could happen in a grounding, here we are where the metal meets the bottom, maybe.
Or now the metal beats the hammer.
Hopefully not. So anyway, we're here with Jimmy from Frank and Jimmy's Propeller. He's the owner, and we have some fine examples of propellers here that have unfortunately had a little bump on the bottom, and Jimmy's going to show us how he fixes them and what it's all about. So let's start with an ugly one that's like that's really so here we go. This prop here, obviously with big chunks out of it, has had a pretty hard
like
hit.
Maybe it hit a marlin or something.
Yeah, something happened. It's interesting. It doesn't seem to be on both props, which they're very lucky. It just hit the one prop.
I didn't even realize that was a matching set.
Is there hope for that prop, Jimmy?
Yeah, there's maybe hope. This is kind of a questionable one.
Yeah.
But it's always a question of, time is a big one on, how long does it take to get a new one? I got my family coming in this weekend. I got to have something, let me get going.
That makes sense.
Quality, it's like these are class 1, they could go to class S. So are you going to make the quality decision?
Right.
And how much does it cost?
Right.
So how valuable is the boat? How much they want to spend for their propellers? Some people realize that they get this great deal on a 20-year-old Hatteras, only to find out the props cost more than the boat does now.
Yeah, right. It's crazy.
So it's.
But I was thinking, just to comment real briefly. You talked about class S, class 1, and I know from our vibration analysis that really makes a difference. The quality level really affects the vibration. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. So we've been now, the whole industry for the last decade or two, has been going into using the ISO tolerances and standards, and tolerances of the standards for propeller repair. The levels of tolerance is just how accurate the propeller is. And so our standard repair job is a class 1 repair.
Class 1.
And then to take it to the next level would be a class S.
Yeah, so it's like almost exponential in amount of effort.
Right, it's a whole lot more effort to get it, because you're really dealing with the subtle nuances of where how the blades are, the geometry of the blades
Can I ask a random question?
Yeah.
The difference between class 1 and class S while fixing a prop could be how much in dollars, if we're talking about this size?
It's like 25% more, doing it. So,
I don't know why everybody wouldn't do it on that theory.
So we generally, if a propeller was made class S, which means it was machined,
keep it.
so a machine propeller, repair it to class S. With hand finished propellers, they're generally class 2, or even class 1, when they come out of the mold or come out of the factory. They're fine to go back to class 1.
Yeah.
With them. So
most props, I think, are class 1, right?
Yeah, most are class 1.
Although
that's changing into even more class S now.
And I wanted to let our audience know that there's 3 parameters that you're looking for in propellers. So you can see they'll scan the blade, and you can see they scan it at the different radiuses, and you can see the marks on here very lightly where this prop's been scanned. So they scan at each of the radiuses, and that's one parameter. Your pitch and your geometry is very critical. And then they also do the surface finish is also very important to the quality. And then the third parameter is they spin balance it, and that dynamic balance is very critical as well. So those are the 3 main factors that you're looking for in a propeller quality. So, and then you want to look at these props. These are industrial props here, and you can see they've been. This is the event of a grounding here, and they've had to weld sections of the blade back on. Chunks of the blades, and you can see at the blade tips. They're able to make some pretty amazing repairs.
These are off an island freighter down in Miami. They have another set that they have on the boat now. So these were just highly damaged, but these propellers would be 6 to actually more like 9 months right now to get more, and very expensive. and they're really slow. So the boat, they turn slow, the boat's slow. If it doesn't vibrate, it works, you know, for them.
Right.
So these would be an example of a class 2 propeller repair that we'll get. So it'll be the just good enough tolerance to get it going, but it's extensive. So these are saving them a lot of money. Even though it'll be an expensive repair, it'll still be saving them a lot of money and time of getting these things going back to be their spare propellers.
So how do you guys look at a prop and say, that's repairable, that's not?
So like this propeller came in, and from the look of it, because like I said, that propeller over there, you know, could potentially be repairable.
Right, this one looks easier.
much better. At first glance it does, and then in getting into it, from examining it, we realized that the tracking or the bend is way into the close of the hub, so it's by the root of the propeller. So the radius that it's bent on, this one is like at the 3 radius, 30% out, or 4 radius, and it physically, we're unable to, even with accessing it with hydraulics or heat, to get it pushed back into tracking. So the one blade is just too far out of spacing, you know, between the blades. The angular difference between the blades is too great here and too small there. We physically can't push it back down. So we just can't do it. Even though it looks like we probably could, we could make it look kind of like a propeller, but it would not be.
So
This would be a nice yard decoration.
So all things are repairable if you can access it? Would you go by that rule of thumb?
Well, no, it's also the condition of the metal. So like this was iffy as far as the, you know, was the metal good enough? Because you put things in salt water, they corrode. So you get a lot of corrosion, and if there's too much corrosion, you can't fix it. You know, the metal is actually converted into stone. You know, it's not really metal anymore. So it also can become work hardened or get brittle. So sometimes you'll start working on a propeller and the thing just starts cracking, you know, in there. And
spider cracking.
Yeah, spider cracking, and there's no stopping it, you know, doing it. So the age of the metal, the condition of the metal, the thickness of it also, because every repair, you're losing some metal. So, you know, you're always grinding on them, especially when they're bent like those. You'd have a bunch of little lumps and bumps at the end that you're going to grind out. So you're going to be thinning down the blades. So they have a limited life, you know, as far as on how many times they can be repaired. Anyway.
Metal starts to crystallize, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So you see this, so what Jimmy's talking about, Jenny, is the phase angle. So this blade's here, right? This blade's here. This blade's here. Well, this one, it's so badly bent that it's changed its phase. The angle between the blades is changed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the result of it. So you can see the phase angles will be here. That when they measure the props.
So hitting something that hard, why isn't the prop more mangled?
It probably stopped it on that one.
It probably stopped. It hit this blade first, and I guess it depends on what they hit. If they hit here they might have hit a submerged object, because it doesn't look like the end of the blade is damaged here. So it looks like whatever hit, this could have been like a railroad tie or something soft that they hit, and it just bent the blade.
Mm-hmm.
Every blade, you know, that was probably a hard grounding, they hit a hard substrate, whereas this might have hit something softer, and they just hit, most of it looks like this one blade took the brunt of it, and this second blade, the other blades don't look as bad, do they?
Mm-mm.
So you can almost see what, forensics.
Yes, it's always trying to figure out what happened, you know.
Yeah, it's just like you said, there's a story behind every propeller.
Oh yeah, yeah, and often
probably write a
often
book
not a
about
good, not a good story usually. So,
Yeah.
The good story is we got it fixed and we got it back to the Bahamas in 2 days, saved their charter, you know, and got that. That's what we're shooting for.
If you guys pull off miracles,
making good stories.
Yeah, you've done some amazing things, and
because all of boating is making memories. You know, that's the gist of boating. You know, why people get into boating is to make memories, and we want to make their memories good, not like, oh my God, this is terrible doing this. So we want to get them back out there.
They can get ugly.
Boat, you know. Oh yeah.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yes.
So we've seen something mangled. We've seen something being repaired.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen what not to repair. Can you guys kind of show us how you repair?
Let's go and see.
Let's go inside, right?
Going this way.
Sorry.
propellers everywhere.
So to tell you what they're doing is he's now measuring a propeller using an MRI machine, which is not an MRI, it's actually a measuring recording instrument,
Oh.
but call them MRIs. And he's getting the geometry of the propeller. So each of those, he's out like on the 95 radius now, which is the most extreme radius it'll check, which is also the most important. The tips go the fastest, the tips make the most difference. So he's measuring it there, and then he'll get a graphical image of the way that the propeller, how far out it is, what it is. And then it'll go from using the high-tech computer to using a torch and a hammer or hydraulics to get it, to force it back into the way it should be. And he'll use the different stands to do that. So he'll go back and forth. He's pulling that one off and get to the next one. You can see at the far
it's a real art.
yeah.
It's almost like an artist.
Yep.
Crazy.
And then at the far propeller, Kevin is working on that to get those blades straightened back out. So with a propeller like that, he'll unfold the blades first before he even starts measuring it, because it's obviously bent, and then he'll get an initial scan with the blades kind of unfolded to get a starting position to go from. So he's looking at the computer screen. Once he gets the blade straightened out of, where do I go? What's my plan going to be? How do I attack this? And the preparation of how I'm going to go about doing it is very important. I say that, when we get new trainees, new people
All right, watch
coming
your
in.
ears.
Yeah. Yeah, this gets loud now.
Well, nothing here is exactly quiet.
Is that, anybody can eventually get the propeller to come within tolerance. A good guy can get it to come in tolerance quick.
So is he going to straighten this one?
So that was it. You just witnessed a straightening. So that was a subtle straightening on that one. He's getting it to you go from the big bends to making it small. So a good guy, the fewer they can do it in the fewest amount of hits. If I were to get up there now, it would take me a lot of hits, and I'd be going too far and have to come back and forth, back and forth.
Well, Rich does this with his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a hammer and anvil, basically.
Well, it's interesting to see what it's sitting on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, in his choices, you can see that he has all the different hammers with different faces on them. So there's steel faces, there's copper faces, rawhide faces, depending on how hard he has to hit it without damaging the propeller to put, grooves and messing up the blades too much.
Hello.
The ball underneath is essentially the folder, so that's why he's getting leverage of hitting what he's going to hit. Now, if he was doing more, he would be using the hydraulic table to hold the propeller tighter, and then he would get more oomph out of every hammer swing would do more. As is now, it's vibrating around a lot. So this is a preliminary go at what he's doing.
The guys, you do like an apprenticeship?
Yes. So they come in, and we've actually been really lucky over the past year, coming out of COVID. We had, it was crickets trying to get anybody. We've actually had quite a few young guys coming in, so we're training some young people, which is what a blessing, of having.
You need that young blood in there.
People coming in that, my guys are aging out as far as on that they've been doing this their whole lives, doing it, and now it's time in their life to train, new people to be doing this.
So that's a little. So, Rich, are you able to look at this and now say? Are you able to look at this and now say, "Oh, that's gonna make all the vibration go away"?
Well, when Jimmy's done, and you get to class 1 or this is the beginning of the whole process. This will go on. How long will this take?
He'll spend quite a few days.
Quite a few days.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is just the early stage of it.
I mean, he's already tired.
And then they get it. They gotta fine tune it. By the time they're done though, and the difference in the tolerance is like thousandths of an inch.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
mean, it's precise.
And then really the final process while we're here is dynamic balancing. So Hunter that's the end process that he's doing now is dynamic balancing propellers. This has already been through the polishing, and it's good to go when he's done with it. It looks like he's done with that one. So he just spun that up, and
You look at this and you say, well, this isn't very precision.
Right. And then it goes to this.
Yeah,
And it's amazing to me how pretty I think crafts
yeah,
are.
right.
okay, so actually he's
For
going
a
to run
day.
up the propeller now, get it to speed, and he's got the computer that's going to show him at what angle that it's out of balance and how much it's out of balance.
And then when they realize it's out of balance,
And
what
then
do
he's
they
going to
do?
take away metal. So he'll use the grinder and he'll grind away
Wow.
on the back side or the suction side of the blade, which is not the pitch side, the other side. He'll grind away metal until it goes in balance. So it's just a process of going back and forth of checking the balance and then coming in, grinding it, and running it up again. And doing
That's
it.
pretty neat.
And it's something that there also is an ISO tolerance for that. Depending on what the use of the rotor is, the ISO has different things. If this was a electric motor armature, it would be a different tolerance than what the propeller is. So
What amazes me is the level of precision, like how little material they have to take off to balance it. I mean, you would think it was a lot.
Is this
but
one
it's-
out of balance?
yeah, so
So is he
Hunter,
going to
is
show
it
us
out
what
of
he does?
balance or is it in? Is it out now or is it in?
One more. I got the left,
One more?
Right side.
One more.
Oh, I want to see what he does.
So actually he's just said he's going to do the right side. So this is one he's doing a two-plane balance on. Normally on our regular repairs, they're doing a single plane balance, which is called the force balance. Watch out, he's going to be making some noise here. And with the dynamic balance, with dynamic balance, they're able to split the plane, and he can balance the right side and the left side separately, which takes the wobble out of it. Instead of just the up and down imbalance, it takes the wobble out.
Cool.
So, especially on propellers that have a long hub, like this propeller has a long hub to it, the two-plane balance becomes very important. Again.
Very cool.
Amazing, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
So,
So believe
oh,
it or
he's
not,
shaving it right now?
yeah, believe it or not, on this balancer, we can do up to 80 inches of diameter. Depending on how much they weigh, can we act as a motor, it's a 5 horsepower motor to get it spinning. So we can do very large propellers on this
Wow.
machine.
It's not very much.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and that's the part that experience comes into play of how much do you take off. It's telling you whatever, 0.5 grams at a certain number.
So
well,
how does he know
how
he-
do you equate that? So that's some experience.
Where do they go from here? What's the next step after this?
Next step after this would be welding.
And that's over there.
I think we're doing welding over there. Yeah, they'd have to weld this up, and then they'd go back and forth. After it's welded, it'd be ground, and then the pitch would be reset again. If some of the welds cracked during that pitching, they'd have to re-weld. So sometimes it goes back and forth a couple times from welding to straightening, welding to straightening. Hopefully not too many times. So.
I mean,
And,
you would almost think that propeller was beyond repair,
Yeah,
but they're able to fix it.
that's wild.
And that's probably a $30,000 propeller.
Yes, that's probably
Yeah.
a $30,000 propeller.
Just rough
And that's
numbers.
just a class 1?
That would be a Class S propeller. So, yeah, so he's going to get that to within thousandths of an inch of accuracy from that.
Yeah,
So that's
it's hard to believe.
That is. That's wild.
And they're doing it all with, like, manipulating the metal. Not like a car where they put Bondo on it. They can't do that here.
no.
You mean JB Weld isn't going to cut it?
No JB Weld.
So, after this, they go to the welding, and then
Well, I can show you some of the smaller propellers and how they're doing those, and then we'll look at welding over there.
Okay.
Maybe we should go look at the scanning in a little more detail.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're scanning. You going here or you measuring out? So this is the smaller propellers, kind of keep them by outboards up to big propellers. There's two guys over doing outboard propellers. They're using pitch blocks. So the pitch blocks are dies that are made from the master propeller that, say, Mercury or Yamaha would make a propeller and make a mold out of that propeller, and they would make a shape of the blade. They then make a steel die out of it that's what it's supposed to fit. So those are what we have on the wall over there. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're individual for if it's a Rev 4 Mercury 19 pitch left hand, there's a certain block for it. So they're just making the propellers fit those blocks.
Wow.
So it's not MRI or prop scan or anything. They're just having to make it fit. Now on the high performance propellers, we do take it and we do scanning on those propellers, but only at
Racing props.
the racing propellers. But otherwise, those are plenty good enough just using the pitch blocks, because if it fits, it fits. It's what it's supposed to be. And then we have other pitch blocks that we've had for 60 years, literally, or even longer, that were for the original type of propellers, which were all constant pitch propellers. So they were the Michigan Wheel made Dynaquads and Dynajets, which was everybody's boat. Today, the propellers are all different.
Pitch.
So the propellers are made in Australia, they're made in Italy, they're from Turkey, they're from China. They're all over the world in all different designs and shapes. So we don't have pitch blocks for them.
Cool. So after this, is there another favorite part you guys have? Is there a part that you love? Is there a part that you love here that we can show all of our viewers at IYBA?
Well, there's one other thing I was thinking. Maybe we should talk about like the shape of the geometry of the blades. Like this looks like a super cavitating prop, right?
Yeah, these are surfacing propellers.
So this is like surface piercing propeller, right? That is surface piercing prop?
Right, these are surface piercing propellers, meaning that they're not under the boat, they stick out the back of the boat. And one misconception is that these are the most high-tech of propellers. Yeah. These are the most high-tech of propellers, where actually these are some of the most forgiving propellers.
Really?
You could literally take that much of the blade off and it'll run fine. Wow. For it. So it's they're some of the most expensive propellers on the most expensive drives, the most expensive boats.
Yeah.
Yet it's a very forgiving application.
Like a Pershing might have this.
Yeah.
Very high speed, right on the surface drive.
With a really cool, obnoxious
And then you
weight.
have a prop like this, and this is called the blade area. You have the blade area. That has to do with like how much of the blade is making contact with the water, and then the shape of the blade is they overlap and they have what they call skew.
Okay.
So where the blade transitions the water from one blade to another smoothly, and it prevents. That also helps to reduce vibration.
This looks like it came off a Ferretti.
Yeah, pretty good eye.
You know your props.
So I'll show you the grinding room also,
Okay.
where they do the finished polishing. Go to the office. And here, these are just, as we're walking by, you'll see some. So these are polishing machines, vibratory polishers for doing the stainless steel propellers, which is very popular now. And all the center consoles, that's all the boats. So they all have multiple engines with stainless steel propellers. So we do lots of stainless steel propellers now.
It looks like my dryer.
Yeah, they just shake. The
I
dryer would work. You could actually fill your dryer with this media, and you could polish propellers.
Is it in
your
there
dryer.
right now?
Yeah. There's like here's a.
Oh, wow.
So you can see the propeller tumbling around. There's one on each side, and this is the initial side or the wet side. This is just ceramic cones with some soapy water, and they'll tumble in there for about 2 hours, and they'll come out halfway done. And then the finished one will be over on the other side.
Use that for jewelry.
Those things work.
which is just shells, nut shells, and organic. So this one's not on, but it tumbles around in there for another 2 hours, and then it comes out looking like this over here. And
Amazing.
I still, from the first day that I saw them, I'm like, this is so amazing. You know how
I can't believe you touched it with a bare hand.
yeah. So it's they come out.
You got your
so,
fingerprints
They
on
come
it
out
now.
great. So the only thing we have to do is to be careful with the trailing edges on the cupping. We have to sharpen the trailing edge because the polishing will round off everything. So it smooths it out. So we have to make sure it's an important part on all propellers where they have cup. Even if they don't, is the shape of the trailing edge. So the sharpness of it.
Yeah.
If it's not sharp, you can get harmonic vibrations singing.
Then you might go rip.
Right. Like the ones out there. So this is our grinding area. The first part, as we're coming in, this is the high performance area, this area.
Watch your eyes.
Yeah.
So this is.
Hi, Mike. So yeah, Mike is just doing a high performance propeller.
So they're sharpening it.
And
They're sharpening the blades?
Yeah.
so we do lots of race propellers and high performance propellers. And this is our race crew here. And
Wow.
then this room is enclosed, air conditioned, dust collection. We just sweep the floors every night. And because this is the dirty part. So this is where we're polishing the propellers. He's prepping the propeller for polishing to go into the vibratory polishers there. The big propellers don't go in there, so we have to do them by hand.
Oh, wow.
So the one thing with the geometry of the propeller is you can't see it. So what a customer can see is the finish of the propeller.
Right.
So, you know, if it looks bad when we give it back, even if the geometry is perfect, people in their minds are questioning, I don't know, is this a good job? So it's important for us to make the propellers look really good as well. Even though it may not make very much difference, you know, as far as on the performance, we want to make it a first-class job that the people are getting. And so it's an important part for us. As well as with you brought up earlier about cracks. So when you're polishing is when you can also final check to make sure there's no cracks in the blades, especially on that stainless steel. If it's scuffy or bad, whatever, there could be a hairline crack that you don't see. When you polish it, you can see it.
Yeah.
Because we're not automatically die checking all the propellers. On some of the larger yachts, we die check the propellers to search for cracks. If it's a class vessel, they require that. But normally we don't. We just visually are looking for cracks.
Right.
So you can find the cracks when you're polishing it.
And die check. You know what die check is?
I do now.
Yeah.
I mean,
they
it's
So
pretty.
you have like this. They use this very liquid dye. It penetrates really well, bright red, and then they spray it with a developer, and you can see
It'll
the
stay
crack.
on the crack. Cool.
Yeah. So you got to look for that in the keyways and everything, especially in the grounding, because you get that stress on the corners of the keyways, and it could cause a crack.
Well, I wish you had an opportunity to show us some bad shafts, but I think everyone's hopefully seen one that's a part of the IYBA.
Yeah. Yeah. This has been good.
Yeah, this has been great.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you so much for your time.
Very
And
welcome.
we hope you guys all enjoyed this segment.
Maybe we should go toward the front and see.
Yeah, there may be something else.
Jimmy,
Yeah,
I wanted
there's
to
some
see
finished propellers
I wanted
up
to see
here.
a shaft seal.
Sorry, just
That was
kidding.
another-
One more thing.
So actually, we came in through the back door, but here are some propellers waiting to go into the grinding room in various stages of weld or not weld,
Nice.
you know, as well. Be careful of
Shaft
the
cells
names.
here?
You know,
Yeah.
they may not want their name
Take a
known
look
that
at
they're.
the shaft
I'm just kidding, but
Inside office.
they might wind up on qualified captain. You know, so.
All right, we're going to look at the tide seal.
And so these are some finished propellers to your right that are waiting for people to pick them up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
pretty sure this was vibrating.
That's impressive. I've never seen a shaft that corroded.
All right, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm showing here. This was invoice on April.
Here.
1st. I'm showing this price is $28.44 each.
So this was one of the things I wanted to talk about and touch on is the other thing that needs to be inspected in a grounding is, of course, the shaft seals.
What happened?
And the shaft seals, this is a lip type seal where there's a rubber lip that seals against the shaft, and the lip prevents water from coming in. So this would be mounted to the stern tube, and the water would go this way. And this is the part that seals, and it's cutaway. This is the part that seals against the shaft to prevent water from coming in the boat. And what can happen in a grounding, and I've seen where, for example, if the shaft gets a twisted bend or something, it could cause damage to the shaft seal. So the seal starts to vibrate and it wears, the rubber is very sharp edge, wears against the stainless steel of the shaft, and it starts to leak. And also this seal is carried and centered by a bearing which locates it, and the bearing would also get damaged, just like your cutlass bearings.
One thing you just brought up is that the seal and leaking is that the way that stainless is stainless, is that it has a film that's on the shaft, and so that's what keeps it from corroding. When you actually put the seal on the shaft, if this were to sit on a low quality stainless steel shaft or like a commercial grade stainless shaft, and you just put a rubber band around it or a seal on it, you'd get pitting, crevice corrosion underneath of the seal. So basically the message is use your boat a lot,
Check your seal.
and then it'll be good. So when boats sit, one thing that happens is you get pitting and corrosion underneath the seals, or even on packing as well. So it's good practice to turn it over, to actually be running it,
rotate the shaft.
rotate the shafts.
Don't leave the boat sitting at the dock without the shaft turning for more than a week, I would think.
Yeah.
Because
you got a boat, use your boat. That's the real thing.
Well, that's everybody has the dream, right? We all want to use our boats.
Yeah.
But everybody loves low hours, I thought.
Well, everybody wants to use the boat.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's another
low hours count when you're selling
This is another type of seal that Jimmy
even count that.
is showing us.
So
this is called a face seal. This is opposed to what this is called a lip seal. And a face seal, you have a carbon face that runs against a stainless collar. In this particular design, and this rubber boot mounts to the stern tube, so it allows some misalignment and movement. So this is this is a face seal. These tend to be a little more robust, and if there was sand or particle in the water, it would tend not to deteriorate. This carbon is pretty the silicon carbide is pretty strong, and the stainless. But again, if the big thing with any kind of seal is to have water flow through it to cool it and flush it, and if it ever stops because of something like a grounding where you're stirring up the bottom and you're running, you continue to run the engines, you could get sand and particulate in here and damage the seals as well. So you got to be careful. If you run aground, stay calm. Stay calm and don't start pounding on the throttles.
Forward.
Yeah, because you could make things a lot worse. So just anyway, that's all I got.
Cool. Thank you. It was really nice talking to you guys, and thank you for having us here. Thank you for helping us.
Thanks, Jenny.
It was a joy.
Good
Been
seeing
a pleasure.
You. Thank you.
Nice talking to you guys.
All right.